Hi, and welcome to the very first open day of the Law Simplified's online law school. I'm Shavin Bandaranaike. So, this is one of 5 open days that I'm having to showcase exactly what you will get in relation to the online law school, which is just started. Every day, we'll be looking at a different subject and a different topic. Today, for example, this open day will be homicide in relation to criminal law, where we'd look at a question and a sample question which you can attempt and which will discuss the nuances and what you need to really look out for in structuring and breaking down your responses. So if you'd like to subscribe and enroll in the online law school, check out the description, which is currently displayed on screen right now. And as I've been doing for the past 2.5 years, the private masterclasses are also always available for a much more in-depth deep dive where you'll have a one-on-one session with me as well. Just drop me an email so that we can get started with that as well. So in order to begin, I thought we'll start off with criminal law because as much as it is one of the more heinous aspects of the law, it's also one of the most interesting in terms of breaking down and analyzing questions. So we'll go through a problem-based scenario and have a look at how exactly you can break down a question of this caliber and how to answer them during an examination situation as well. So the very first thing is let's read the question together. Okay, Mary and Peter are twin brother and sister. They have endured years of physical abuse at the hands of their father. After leaving home, they remain very angry about their father's treatment of them and decide to kill him. They order some poison from the internet and decide to leave it in his favorite whiskey, knowing that he likes a daily nightcap. Their father drinks the whiskey. However, they have actually ordered a harmless fruit juice and their father suffers no ill effects from the drink. Peter is relieved to learn that they have not killed their father. Mary, on the other hand, is very angry that their father survives and decides that she will find another way to kill her father. One evening, her father tells her that her birth was a mistake and that neither he nor her mother has ever loved her. This sends her into a fury. Once her father's back is turned, Mary takes a saucepan and repeatedly hits him over the head with it. He later dies from his injuries. Peter is surprised but secretly pleased that Mary has killed their father. Advise Mary and Peter on any criminal liability arising. Okay, so the moment you see this question, be it in an examination situation or you might just be attempting it on your own as well, the first thing that you need to note is that there's a structure and there's a story in these questions. Besides the crux of the offense, which we will discuss in a bit, there are also surrounding circumstances which are strategically placed in these questions to help you gain a better mark. These are much more quantitative. Problem-based questions especially are much more quantitative in their approach to marking of students than that of essay-based questions, which are much more qualitative, where it's based on mood and feel, so to speak. But whenever you get a question like this, the very first thing that you should look at is the instruction, which many students overlook. So in this question, the instruction is to advise Mary and Peter on any criminal liability. Why I emphasize on this is one of the fundamental mistakes students make is that they write everything they know about the topic and the kitchen sink. So in a question such as this, just writing everything you know about homicide does not answer the question. This is not a rote learning examination. You have to argue it based on the instruction provided to you. Think of it as you are representing Mary and Peter. And think of this scenario as them coming to you. This doesn't mean that your argument needs to be completely on their side. It actually can be completely opposing their side. But you need to show conviction. You need to show that you have an argument as opposed to just writing everything under the sun. Right. Now, since this is a question on homicide, this is a question on a particular type of offense, the first rule of thumb is to make sure that that offense has been committed. Because by and large, many answer scripts that I mark, I've seen students that have gone rambling on about different areas of law without even looking at whether the offense has been committed. So this is homicide. So homicide, within that subcategory, you have murder, voluntary manslaughter, and involuntary manslaughter. The definition of murder, as in R. N. Maloney, is an unlawful killing of a human being with an intention to kill or cause grievous bodily harm. Now, in that regard, we have to first and foremost find whether this has taken place. That's the primary offense here. So if we look through this question, the first thing we need to find is a dead body, essentially. So the actus reus is an unlawful killing of a human being. Now, towards the penultimate sections of this question, you'll see at the very end, it says, he later dies from his injuries. Now, it's clear at this point that we have a dead body. Now, having a dead body, this is clearly in an unlawful manner. There was no police involvement. It was nothing to that effect. A person has now unnaturally, unlawfully died. The next thing is we need to connect this death to a person. How exactly did this happen? So if we read on a bit more and we work our way upwards, we'll see it says, once her father is turned, referring to Mary, of course. Mary turns takes a saucepan, and repeatedly hits him over the head with it. So clearly, we have a causal link here. Why did the father die? Because Mary hit him with a saucepan. Now, there is a clear causal link here, and it's clear that if not for Mary's acts, and I'm looking at the but-for test here, if not for Mary's acts, the father would still be alive. So there is an unlawful killing. The problem here, though, is we still have the missing elements of the mens rea. Did Mary intend to do so? So we work our way even further up. Why exactly did this happen? Was the requisite intention? Did she have an intention to kill or cause grievous bodily harm? Now, clearly, the first thing that we'll note is right off the bat, the words themselves immediately might not suggest it. Now, looking at the surrounding factors of this question, it's clear that not only her, even Peter wanted the father dead. And this has been continuing. So if we look towards the beginning, it says, after leaving home, they remain very angry about their father's treatment of them and decide to kill him. Now, clearly at this point, we'll talk about this slightly later, but you'll notice that soon after this statement, that they go on to order poison, which turns out to be something else, and the father doesn't die. Now, in order for murder to be committed, there must be an unlawful killing of a human being with an intention to kill or cause grievous bodily harm. In this first paragraph, we see the intention component. We see that both Mary and Peter, but substantively Mary, wanted to kill the father. So clearly there was an intention to kill. However, what was missing was the actus reus. There was no dead body at that time. The father didn't die. So the missing actus reus means that there is no crime committed. Just a quick recap of how criminal law works. You have different offenses, be it theft, be it murder, be it rape, whatever it might be. And each individual offense has two elements. It has the actus reus and the mens rea. The actus reus is a physical act, the actual thing that has happened. For example, a person has died. The mens rea is what was working in your head while this happened. Now, if you have both the actus reus and the mens rea fulfilled, the crime is complete. You can be convicted. If you have the actus reus complete, yet the mens rea is either A, not existent or non-existent, or B, questionable. It's qualified due to some reason, which might be the case later on when we talk about it. In such a situation, you may be able to convict. It really depends. It might be a strict liability offense. It might be a mitigation to a more heinous offense, for example, from murder to manslaughter and so on. However, if there's no actus reus and only the mens rea, you cannot be convicted. So in this context, you have the mens rea in one particular place, but no actus reus. So if we move on, we later see that Peter is relieved and he somewhat absolves himself from all of this. And later on, it says Mary, on the other hand, is very angry that their father survives, that she will find another way to kill her father. So her intention continues. One evening, her father tells her that her birth was a mistake and that neither he nor her mother has ever loved her. This sends her into a fury. Now, at this juncture, if we are able to establish that the requisite intention of murder still remained, you could charge Mary with murder because she intended to kill her father and she went on to action that with her actus reus of hitting him over the head with a saucepan, which in turn led to his death. However, there are several mitigations that might work in her favor. One primary mitigation would be to claim that yes, the death was caused by her, but it does not amount to murder because she lost her control. That she was told something which triggered her and she didn't have control of, she knew it was wrong, but she did it based on that emotion that took over her. Now, there are several requirements for this, however, which have been outlined in both the Coroners and Justice Act of 2009, as well as specifically the Homicide Act of 1957. Specifically, in relation to loss of self-control, there are few requisites, and those requisites must be actioned by virtue of either fearing serious violence or feeling that you'll be seriously wronged, or a combination of the two. One way in which Mary could argue is that she felt being seriously wronged because she was told by her father, who she is already angry with to one aspect, that her mother never loved her and that her birth itself was a mistake. This would in turn seem to be something on the lines of being seriously wronged, and that led to this particular outcome. The only thing that will work against her is the fact that she constantly wanted to kill him. So the intention was prevalent regardless of this. This is just the one moment that she snapped, so to speak. Now, this is just a basic way in which we can break down such a question. Once you enroll in the online law school, we'll go through a much more in detail and an in-depth breakdown of these questions as well. And you'll be free to ask questions in the live stream chat, as well as the on-demand video that will be accessible later on. And we can have a much more in-depth discussion on how you can actually structure your answers as well. This was just a quick open day for the criminal law sessions, which we'll be having weekly, included in the whole package of the online law school. I hope to see y'all in class as well. And make sure you check out the other open days that will be showcased on this YouTube channel before we actually commence the online law school later on in the month. Thanks a lot for watching. And as always, have fun, stay safe, and obey the law. Cheers.